Hello, Doc Mel and classmates. Here is my assignment for FMA 3. Now, this is the evaluation framework for social marketing and social mobilization program. Now, let me share to you as a recap, let me share to you the evaluation framework which I created in FMA 2 on how I will evaluate a social mobilization program or social marketing. I have presented the evaluation areas with 7 areas, the evaluation questions, the key indicators, and the methodologies that I will use. Now, as a background, in FMA 1, I reported the social mobilization called Alay Kapwa being implemented by the Caritas Philippines. As a project overview, this Alay Kapwa is a Lenten evangelization and resource mobilization program of the Philippine Catholic Church, created in 1975 by Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. It was rebranded in 2021 to be more vibrant, current, and inclusive. In the same year, the 7 legacy programs were finalized, and in 2023, they launched the Alay Kapwa Expanded to have 1 million donors who will donate 500 pesos a year or 42 pesos a month. Now, let's begin with relevance. I have the evaluation questions. Does the project address the urgent needs of the communities? Is it aligned with implementing agency's mission? And the key indicators, community needs assessments, conducted, and alignment with social mission. Now, for methodologies, of course, I am not part of Caritas Philippines. I'm not part of the research department of Caritas Philippines. That is why I will only present to you the data, the reports, the documents they presented in their website. The Alay Kapwa have 7 legacy programs. This is the Alay para sa Karunungan, Alay para sa Kalusugan, Alay Kapwa para sa Kabuhayan, Alay Kapwa para sa Kasanayan, Alay Kapwa para sa Katugunan sa Kalimidad, Alay Kapwa para sa Kakasan, Alay Kapwa para sa Katarungan at Kapayapaan. Is there any relevance? Are these 7 legacy programs needed by the society or the communities? Now, let's begin with the Alay Kapwa para sa Karunungan or the Educational Assistance Program and Community Schooling. Is there a need for this? In 2019, while 82.4% of Filipino aged 25 and above completed primary education, the completion rate sharply dropped to 30.5% for secondary education and further decreased to 24.4% for bachelor's degrees. Disparities between economic groups are evident, with 49% of the wealthiest attending higher education compared to only 7% from the poorest. So meaning as they increase their education from elementary to high school to the college degree, that the percentage is becoming lower. So therefore, it is relevant to have this program to assist the poor families who cannot send their children access to education. Now, how about the program for health and nutrition? Now, there is a study that 2.7 million families experience hunger in first quarter of 2023. So imagine, of course, with these studies, the health and nutrition program is relevant. How about this? 1 out of 10 Filipino households are food insecure. So this program, livelihoods and food security, is really needed in the communities. And also, the ecological advocacies program, we see the climate change happening in the world. So we need to give education and inform the people that our climate is changing and we are suffering from it. And how about the humanitarian disaster risk reduction program? Is this relevant? From the report of Philippine Statistics Office in 2020, we have 463 billion cost of disasters. So we really need this program to respond to the affected families when there are disasters. And how about this program, Justice and Peace and Good Governance? It was reported that in between 2016 and 2021, there were 126 cases of extrajudicial killings of members and leaders of indigenous communities after being red tagged. So after they were red tagged, they were killed. Between 2016 and 2022, there were 32 incidents of red tagging. At least 23 journalists were killed. So this kind of program is needed in order that we will have these advocacies to attain the justice and peace and good governance in our country. Now, how about the institutional development and capacity strengthening? It is relevant because the Caritas workers are needed to be trained in order they can have excellent service to the people and to the poor. So how about another question? Is it aligned with implementing agency's mission? Let us look at the mission of the Caritas Philippines. Taken from their website, we see the lower part. One of the missions is established and is strengthened local resource mobilization. So it match. So therefore, this program is really relevant to the mission of the Caritas Philippines. Now, let us evaluate the effectiveness of the Alay Kapwa program. Are the objectives being achieved as planned? So this is the evaluation question. Now, I reported in my video that in 2023, they launched this Alay Kapwa Expanded with the goal to have 1 million donors or partners who will share or give 500 pesos annually or 42 pesos monthly. Now, in April 2024, they gathered 2,000 donors and partners. And then they already raised the amount of 12 million pesos. Now, as for the key indicators, the percentage of areas with implemented programs, how are the dioceses? Now, when they started the Alay Kapwa Expanded, we want to reach this 1 million donors to the 86 dioceses. Now, after 1 year, they have reached the 2,000 donors. Today, they have 18 dioceses who are active partners who are implementing this program, and there are still 30 dioceses to be activated. Now, to the percentage, 20.93% of 86 dioceses already are implementing the program. Now, if we combine the 18 plus 30 dioceses, we will have 67.44% of 86 dioceses who are implementing this program. So we are seeing that little by little, they are achieving the goals or the objectives they have set for this program. How about the beneficiaries reach versus the targets? Now, the targets, I have said, are 86 dioceses. Now, they have 7 legacy programs. Let us evaluate the 2 programs. First, the Educational Assistance Program. Now, there are 21 dioceses who are having the Educational Assistance Program, the beneficiaries. And they have 834 scholars in 2023 already. And so in the 86 dioceses, they reached the 44.18% already having the scholarship program or the educational assistance program. Now let's move to the health and nutrition. They fed 1,357 persons in the 6 dioceses. And then another program called Familia Program in 11 dioceses. So under this Familia Program is the self-help groups or called the SHEG. And here in this organization, in the SHEG, there are mothers. The target audience participants in this program are the mothers. So among the mothers, they have they have 300 families with a total savings of at least 50,000 pesos. As a background, the self-help program or the self-help groups, they are composed of mothers, and every week they are meeting to have spiritual formation. Then after that, they will have savings, a minimal amount. And now they have at least 50,000 pesos total savings. And then there is also the social enterprise amongst SHEG members, such as herbal and soap production, marketing of agricultural products, livestock raising, and selling of kanin or rice cakes. So we see that they are moving little by little, that this program is really doing its part. Now, let's take a look on the efficiency. Our evaluation question are resources like funds, people, or time being used wisely. The key indicators: cost per beneficiary, timeliness of fund disbursement, and implementation. Let us see if Alay Kapwa program is really efficient in implementing their program. Since I do not have the data, let us just see the results they are presenting in their website. Let's take a look on the one of the programs, Alay Kapwa para sa Katugunan sa Kalamidad, Humanitarian and DRR program. So these are the results of this program. The following are the humanitarian interventions of Caritas Philippines. They have emergency relief provision, shelter construction, or the wash, water, sanitation, hygiene provision, alternative livelihoods, community formation and capacity building, strengthening on humanitarian aid, including volunteer management, safeguarding and protection, community managed disaster risk reduction, etc. So look at the programs or the activities they are doing. And the families help recover during calamities. They impacted 659,822 households, 3,297,976 individuals all over the country. Food packs and non-food packs, 657,986 households. Shelter, they provided for 1,488 shelters constructed, 4 Caritas villages, and livelihoods, 445 households. So are they efficient? Of course, look at the figures they have shown. Now, let us evaluate the impact. Now, the evaluation question, what changes, short and long term, have occurred as a result of the project? Key indicators: changes in income, health, education, social cohesion, testimonials, project output. Let's see. I have shared from my report in FMA2 that this area, the impact, is the top priority of evaluating a social mobilization. Why? Because we need to know how the project impacted or affected the target audience or the beneficiaries. So let us see from the different programs under the 7 legacy programs. For the humanitarian and DRR programs, they have 3.2 million individuals responded. And for livelihoods and food security, 520 communities and 60,000 families they have helped. And for the educational assistance program and community schooling, in 2021, they already have 537 scholars. But I shared already that in 2023, they have 834 scholars. For the health and nutrition, they fed 300 families within 6 months in different places in the Philippines. Now, for justice and peace and good governance, although there are no figures, but they have legal services to respond the injustices in our society. For ecological advocacies, they have no figures also, but they have projects to educate Filipinos and push for relevant policies that can protect the environment. And for the institutional development and capacity strengthening, they have given the 367 Caritas workers to finish certificate courses. 20 Caritas workers graduated in Masters in Social Services Development. We have seen the impact of the Alay Kapwa Program under the Caritas Philippines. Now, let us see this area on sustainability. The evaluation question, can the benefits continue after external support ends? The key indicators, presence of local partnerships, percentage of self-sustaining initiatives. How this Alay Kapwa can sustain? What if Caritas Philippines stop providing the financial support to dioceses and communities and also stop the management assistance? Let's take a look at this. They already have 18 dioceses active in implementing the Alay Kapwa program, which I already mentioned, and there are 30 dioceses to be activated. And then, for right now, the strong dioceses, we have two, the Diocese of Pampanga, they have housing project, that this housing project is one of the biggest resources in their social action. While the Diocese of Baharo Iloilo, they have drugstore. The profit from the drugstore, they are using it to support also other programs in their diocese. They have also existing partner. They also have existing partners. The Celine Yulnila, Pangakong Protection Immunity for All Kids, Globe Telecom, the Hapag Movement Globe of Good Program, Pastoral Care for Children, Hapag Pag-asa Integrated Nutrition Program, and the Metrobank and GT Foundation. So, will this program can continue? Of course, because the dioceses are doing projects to sustain the program, and also they have existing partners that will continue to support their resources. Now, I would like to share to you the program we are doing in the Archdiocese of Cáceres. We, the Caritas Cáceres, the social action of Archdiocese of Cáceres. I have shared this video, this clip in my report in FMA1. This photo is taken from our diocese. These women are members of self-help group. They are having their weekly gathering and computing their savings. Now, I will show you the report given in 2024. We have submitted to Caritas Philippines. Here in Caritas Cáceres, we have a total of basic ecclesial community, 13 communities, and we have 21 children members, and the total members are 197, and they have the amount of savings of 1,059,878.68 pesos. And total amount of loan released was 3,645,640 pesos. So imagine that one diocese is doing this among the 86 dioceses in the Philippines. We are the top diocese or social action office who reached this highest loan release. Can we sustain? Yes, the self-help program will continue in the diocese, in the Archdiocese of Cáceres, because of these achievements we have done in our area. Now, let's talk about the inclusivity. How is this area? Evaluation question. Are vulnerable groups being prioritized? Example, women, elderly, IPs, PWDs. The key indicators, percentage of targeted vulnerable populations included, number of PWDs, senior citizen, IPs, children, and women. Now, these 7 legacy programs, if we will analyze this one by one, for example, this educational assistance program and community schooling, there are children there. The Alay Kapwa Program, health and nutrition, there are poor families, poor women and children. The livelihoods and food security, the poor families are being addressed here. And how about the ecological advocacies? The IPs, of course, they are the one being impacted by the climate change. Therefore, we are prioritizing the IPs and the effects that will happen to them. About the humanitarian and the DRR program, we, we are addressing the needs of the poor people who are the first to suffer from the disaster, because we have we have a lot of disasters in the past. Therefore, we need to consider as a sharing. Last year, 2024, when Caritas Philippines visited us in our office, Caritas Cáceres, we have been oriented on how we will deal to the the situation of responding to the families, the affected families of the disaster. So we were given the orientation how to deal with the women, the children, how are we going to prepare the evacuation centers, and how we will able to serve them well. Also, the senior citizens affected by the disaster, especially when they are already in the evacuation centers. Okay. Now, how about this justice and peace and good governance? Of course, the weak, the poor are affected by the injustices in our country. They are being addressed also in this program. How about the institutional development and capacity strengthening? The target beneficiaries of this are the Caritas workers. Of course, our organizations all over the Philippines, we do admit that we are poor workers. We don't have the highest salaries compared to the international NGOs around the world. So we are part of this. We are part of the vulnerable people that we need to benefit from this program. So, all right. So let us move to the scalability and replicability. This is our last part of the evaluation area. Now, evaluation question: can the model be replicated or scaled up to other areas or places? Key indicators: numbers of areas adopting new modules, feedback from implementing units. Now, let us see. Now, I have shared that the goal was 86 dioceses all over the Philippines. I already shared that now we have 18 dioceses active in implementing the Alay Kapwa program and 30 dioceses to be activated. And there are already 2 active dioceses having programs on their own so they can continue and sustain their programs. So the question is, this program can be scaled and be replicated in other areas and other dioceses? Yes, of course, because we already see the results being implemented in other dioceses. Now, in summary, let us take a look about the evaluation program. So relevance, yes. The results, does the project address the urgent needs in the communities? Yes, through the 7 legacy programs to address the needs of the poor in the 86 dioceses of the Catholic Church. Is it aligned with implementing agency's mission? Yes, one of the missions of Caritas Philippines is to establish and strengthen local resource mobilization connected to their other missions. Effectiveness, are the objectives being achieved as planned? The goal is 1 million donors to donate annually of 500 pesos or 42 pesos annually. The donors responded. We have now 2,000 donors and 20 million pesos raised in 2024, and 18 dioceses actively implementing the program. the efficiency, are resources, funds, people being used wisely? The results can say it in through the humanitarian and disaster risk reduction program. You have seen the figures. I will only mention that we already impacted the 3,297,976 individuals. So, and can see the other figures, how efficient the program is. How about the impact? What changes short and long term have occurred as a result of the projects? We can see through the 7 legacy programs. In the humanitarian and the DRR programs, I have shared it already. 3.2 million individuals are the have impacted livelihoods and food security. 60 families have been fed. Justice and peace and good governance. There are legal services conducted, ecological advocacies, projects to educate Filipinos to protect the environment. How about the program and institutional development capacity strengthening? We have 367 Caritas workers graduated with certificate programs, 20 Caritas workers graduated from Master of Social Services Development, and the Educational Assistance Program and Community Schooling. We have 834 scholars as of 2023. Health and nutrition, 300 families fed across the country. So, have we impacted the people, the communities all over the country? It's a big yes. Now, how about the sustainability? Can the benefits continue after external support ends? Yes, because of the figures you can see where there are 18 dioceses active in implementing the Alay Kapwa program, and still there are 30 dioceses to be activated, while there are two dioceses who are active in having their own sustainable program, so that even if Caritas Philippines will stop helping them financially and giving them management assistance, they will continue the programs. They can sustain themselves. Now, how about inclusivity? Are vulnerable groups being prioritized? Women, children, IPs, PWDs? Of course, as we have discussed, each program of the 7 legacy programs of Alay Kapwa, we know, I have presented, that there are children, women, the senior citizens, and indigenous peoples are the target audience of each program or of the 7 legacy programs. How about the scalability and replicability? Can the model be replicated or scaled up to the other areas of places? Dioceses are scaling and replicating the mobilization program. 18 dioceses active in implementing the Alay Kapwa program. Still 30 dioceses to be activated. And again, 2 dioceses having their sustainable program. So I have summarized already the evaluation framework of the Alay Kapwa 7 legacy programs, the social mobilization of Caritas Philippines. So here you go, my dear classmates and Doc Mel. I have shared to you my report and how I evaluated this social mobilization program of Caritas Philippines. Are they achieving their goals? Are they giving impact to the society? Yes. Alay Kapwa 7 legacy programs is really giving the impact to the society, to the people of the Philippines. Thank you for listening to my report. These are my references. God bless you.